Hi everyone, welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever in the world you are. Today we have Edyta from Washington, D.C. or somewhere near there. And Edyta is the health and corporate travel wellness coach and also founder and CEO of Satchel Global Travel Wellness. I met Edyta a couple of weeks ago and we had a very brief chat on the travel, and the beauty when it comes to travel. And she gave me such incredible advice that I thought we just had to share it with, with the world really. So Edyta, welcome. I'm really happy to have you here today and thank you for taking some time to talk to me. How are you?
Thank you, Lena, for the invitation and for having me. I'm doing great, actually. As you can see behind me, the weather is amazing here in the DC area, and actually I love it. It's September, and I always loved, the time of the year here where I live. So I think that's why I guess I'm here. I'm originally from Poland, so in Poland it's already cold and raining, so that's why I even more enjoy the weather here.
I'm sure, yeah, England is also turning this way. We had 30 degrees last week and now it's raining and cold, but shift of season. I'm looking forward to skiing. Every season has something good about it, right? But your background does look very nice, I must say.
Oh, thank you.
So, Edyta, can you just please introduce yourself and, tell us more about what you do?
All right. So, what do I do? Good question. Travel wellness. I do everything travel wellness. So I work with corporations and I help them to implement travel wellness programs. I also work with individuals and I help them to seriously, what I do, I help them to look and feel their best before, during, and after travel. And this is travel wellness. This is all about how do you feel, how do you look, how do you perform during your travel, and whether it's leisure or business travel, it doesn't really matter. And oftentimes I'm being asked if I organize trips to a destination when there is a yoga, retreat or something like that. No, I don't do that. What I do is really, I prepare travelers to feel their best, to look their best, and be healthy, which is super, super important during travel. And I do the same for corporations where they want to ensure that their employees are healthy, they feel good, they can perform, at the best level that they can. And this is sort of a duty of care at their end too.
And it's so important, right? Because, when I was in my previous life, I traveled sometimes for work and I would travel, like to Texas. So it would be an overnight flight, 7-hour difference. You get there, you're completely jet lagged, you're exhausted. It's middle of the night. It's like 2, 3 a.m. UK time. And then next day, my alarm clock hasn't obviously reset by next day. So you sleep like 4 hours, maybe 3-hour broken sleep. And then you've got to go into the meeting and presentation and not only mentally exhausted, but physically. The first 3 days, probably I'll have this like bags under my eyes. Your nutrition is all over the place because you don't know if you're having dinner or breakfast. So I think it's amazing, really, what you do. So can you maybe share a couple of tips with us?
Sure. So I like what you said, right? Because a lot of people I work with, they have the same exact problem, which is you arrive at you take a red-eye flight, you arrive at your hotel in the morning. Of course, the hotel is not ready, right? Because they want you to wait until 3, whatever, sometimes 4 p.m. Local time. And then what you do, but in an hour, you have to present, you have to be your best, you have to entertain your clients, you have a breakfast sort of presentation and a client meeting, etc. So when I work with my clients, what they are learning is how to prepare before the trip, what to eat, what not to eat, during and after as well, right? I talk about things even like before they travel, because I train them or their personal assistants or their travel agents how to book the trip to ensure that the health and wellness is already there before they leave the house, and things like where to sit on the plane. Many, business travelers, they like sometimes they like a window seat, sometimes they don't. They like to sit in the back of the plane, but I tell them, what to do, what not to do. And just to let you know, or for all of you who are listening, you should never sit in the back of the plane. And the reason why is that on the airplane, just like in the car, the air is filtered, as we know. I mean, airlines now during COVID, they implemented really, good quality air filters, which is great. So then, if they're doing this now, we can think about, what happened before COVID, right? But there is no fresh air. It's too expensive for the airlines to reheat the air on the plane. So what they do, there is only one place on the plane where the fresh air is always there, and it is heated like regularly. And this place is the captain's cockpit. So the captain's cabin is, of course, on the front of the plane. And the closer you will get to sit to the front of the plane, the better for you, because the better chance you have of getting this whole, a little bit of the fresh air. And I'm not saying you have to always fly business class, right? I mean, a lot of destinations, routes don't have don't have business class available. It's all of this is coach class, economy class. So then if you have a chance even to pay a little bit more, I don't know, sometimes the difference $5-10, you can get closer to the front of the plane and help yourself with the with the help and with the wellness and health and other things. So I also do prepare groups. So when I work with groups, and not only individual clients as well, I create something, I call this like a beauty itinerary for the individual people, and for groups a similar thing. But for individuals, I talk about every step based on the destination. What should you do, what should you not? And this includes tips and recommendations, and really seriously sometimes strategies, what to eat, what not to eat. I work on the global dietary guides for them based on destinations. I talk about what should be your beauty routine on the plane. Oh my goodness, when we are flying, what's happening on the plane? Things like our body's dehydrated. And it's not only about drinking water. Water is, I have to tell you, it's not enough. I tell and teach my clients when to consume alcohol beverages, which is super important when you fly. It's super amazing.
There's a schedule when you can drink alcohol beverage. So it's like after dinner or before dinner, or
well, I have to tell you, for all of you who are listening, the rule number one: we don't drink alcohol beverages on the plane at all.
I was afraid you're going to say that.
Yeah, and yes, what you should do if you have a connecting flight, go ahead, have a drink, wine, whatever you like, during the between flights. If you want to do it, take a, sometimes we are being served in business class, in particular, champagne or wine or whatever we want. Before the flight takes off, before the plane takes off, that's a good time to enjoy, but never up in the air, never on the level of 35,000 feet above seawater, never to do that, because the severity of this, I call them unnecessary consequences, are twice as severe as they are in the normal life when you are here. So yes, definitely. I don't drink anymore. I used to enjoy Baileys, during flights. I don't do that. I felt so bad. And I never knew why, right? If we're educated, if we know, then we know exactly what to do, what not to do. So just, a simple tip to share with you guys, but also, beauty routine. Especially for women, we know that millions of dollars of contracts are signed on the plane. When we travel, we meet our bosses, our managers, our people we work with. When we travel, we meet our future prospects, clients, and sometimes even significant others. So it's always, especially for women, they want to look their best. They want to look beautiful. For men, it's about youthfulness. So I help them to be there as well. And there is a beauty routine for both men and women, which is very simple. And oh my God, it changes the way you look. It changes the way you feel. It gives you that, that level of confidence, that you look amazing no matter what. You just, got off the plane after a 6-hour flight and you really look great.
So you also mentioned something really earlier, and I'm just curious if you can share like a little tip with us. You said what to eat and what not to eat. So what is your one thing that you would definitely say never eat before the flights? And what's one thing that can help us to get through that flight in a better shape?
Sure. So like I said, don't drink alcohol beverages when you fly. Do not eat heavy meal when you are on the plane. This is a disaster, especially when you are getting off the plane, you have meetings. Why? I mean, you will be bloated, you will be gassy, super important, right? Your stomach, you will have stomach cramps. Do not eat salty snacks ever. I used to do that. I had stomach cramps. I never understood why. And what's most important is if you feel like that burger, heavy, I don't want to say greasy, but okay, greasy burger, do it after your flight. Don't do it before. What you should be doing is you should be eating lettuce, salad, healthy, light food, even the night before and before your flight. If you are flying in the afternoon, you should be eating healthy, light lunch, and try to avoid eating anything when you are on the plane, especially during if it's a short haul flight. Don't eat those snacks. Don't eat this. Don't drink gassy, soda. Just rest, relax, and have water.
Okay, well that's really useful. I mean, on an aeroplane, they don't really serve you greasy burgers, I guess, So you're probably safe, but I know when I travel sometimes, with friends, and that a lot of them would have a burger and chips before the flight. I mean, I don't eat that. So yeah, and as you said, it does cause the stomach cramps because I know a lot of them complain, including my kids, and my son loves his burger. So it's something definitely to keep in mind. Um, and so what is your like most essential items for travel? Something you will not travel without? Obviously, big bottle of water. Anything else?
Oh, very important. I want to talk about a couple of things. We know it's when we fly and even when we don't fly. I want to talk about that radiation, which is happening on the plane, right? Not only on the plane, because we don't realize that. I was reading a book, a gentleman, Anthony Williams, and he has a book called Cleanse to Heal. And this is really which made me wonder, because he's talking about radiation during our travel, and he is, although the entire book is about healthy meals, body cleansing, liver cleansing, and so on. That I really like that book. And he talks about radiation. So what he's pointing out that when we travel, we are exposed to the cosmic radiation, but also what's very interesting, which I never thought about, is the luggage and our body. So when we go through the security, we have our luggage is exposed to radiation, and especially the luggage which is hand luggage, because this one is scanned multiple times, right? Going through the security scanning machines. Our body is radiated during that process too, but it depends on the machines that are used at the airport. Even the food we consume is done. And I know there's that earthing card.
Right, yes, we did speak about it, didn't we, about the earthing card? That's what I told you, I will not travel without.
Super, super great idea to have that handy with you when you are traveling. Perfect, yes. What else? One item which, I spent July and August of this year traveling all over Europe and also in the US. And what I noticed is super important, if you can, especially when you travel with kids and so on, you should take a thermometer with you. This is an
Really?
item which there are reasons for that, yes. First of all, one of the reasons is I was traveling with my daughter and I was sitting at the window and she was sitting, using the aisle seat. And we arrived in Washington, D.C. Our temperature was checked. So imagine business travelers who are in a rush. If they have a thermometer handy, they can measure their temperature before they get off the plane or even, before they land. So there are no unnecessary sort of embarrassment because temperatures are checked at the airports, especially when we arrive from the overseas flights, we get our body temperature checked. So the gentleman at the airport here said, "Oh, your temperature is slightly elevated." I'm thinking, why is that? But then again, I was sitting by the window where we are exposed to more of the sun and sun radiation. And my body was, high. My temperature was higher than my daughter's. And it was within norms. But imagine this, how embarrassed we can be when we are traveling and there is a line behind us, people waiting, and no one wants to stand next to us because they've overheard the conversation saying, "Hey, your temperature is too high." Now we are going to different places, places like playgrounds, indoor playgrounds, they measure your temperature. You go to a restaurant, people measure your temperature, right? You go to a doctor's office, your body temperature is measured. So if you can have it handy with you, you will avoid a lot of embarrassment and a lot of delays, because if you know your temperature is elevated, you can take a break, you can sit down, cool, have a cold drink before you get off the plane or before you enter a room or a conference room or whatever it is where you are going. So it's not such a stupid idea to have that with you when you travel.
Yeah, interesting. I guess that's something completely new, isn't it? I mean, if a year ago that would have been completely outrageous, like seriously, but now as you explain it, it definitely makes sense. Okay, all right. So thermometer, water, not to drink alcohol on an airplane while flying, not to eat heavy meals, and to sit as close to the front as possible. Wow, those are some great tips. I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate it, especially now. I know, people are starting to travel a bit more. So this is really, really handy. Maybe for my next business trip. I'm not sure about the alcohol in the airplane. I'm fine in economy class, but when you get on a business class and they serve you this amazing champagne, oh my gosh, it takes a lot of willpower to say no to it.
Of
But I will do
course,
my best.
enjoy it before it's the takeoff. Have it,
The takeoff, that's right.
yeah,
I'll
so
just
do
have to
that.
drink it fast. Brilliant. Well, that's been really, really useful. And Edyta, where can people find you?
All right, so you can find me on social media. The handle is Sachel Global. It's my last name, my first initial and global. And also, it's my website, sachalglobal.com. Again, the same thing, my last name, my first initial, and then global.com. You will find a lot of actually helpful information. I'm also in the process of launching so because Sachal Global is a B2B, but I'm in the process of launching the B2C website, which is finel.com, so which is FINE, oh my goodness, LLE.com. So Finel, this will be targeted towards travelers where they can find all the tips and tricks and other things. And also on the current version of Satchel Global, you can get a really nice white paper on the homepage. It's all about 5 things you need to know about contamination zones during travel. I like that in particular because when I created this document, it's all about um, contamination zones, but not only on the plane. The moment you leave the house, it's in the taxi, what's happening there, in the metro, on the train. Sometimes you just commute to work and you have to be aware. You shouldn't be leaning over the window, when you are sitting on the plane. Or everything what's in front of you, it's the most contaminated area, so you have to be aware of those things so you don't touch it. And when you get seated wherever, whether it's a bus, coach, plane, whatever, you should wipe things around you. So not only what's in front of you, but things you are usually leaning on, right? Like the window or the wall or whatever it is, you should be wiping that too.
I'm just thinking of my 7-year-old. I mean, I'll be constantly wiping her. There's just like, just like I'll have to wrap her in like in a big wipe or something because she's everywhere with her hands. But yeah, I mean, taking precaution is a very sensible idea. What I'll do is I'll share your, all your social your social media links and your website underneath the video. So if anyone also gets in touch, they just can contact you directly from there. Any more tips you want to share with us? Maybe one little last one.
You know, I'm a certified health coach, but also certified in oncology aesthetics. So I work with people who are cancer survivors. It's super important for them to also be able to travel. You know, as simple, when I say travel, it doesn't mean, someone has to take a flight. It's enough to do, it's a weekend trip, like a spa weekend, right?
Yeah,
With your family
absolutely.
and friends. Road trip is a trip, right? That's what I'm saying. You don't have to travel by plane. So I also help people to prepare to those, and in particular cancer survivors, because they need a little bit more help and support and education. A huge percent of beauty spas will not accept cancer survivors for a treatment due to the fact they just don't know how to work with them and services to provide. So here I come, and I help provide that support to cancer survivors to understand when to go to the spa, what to do, what not to do, what to expect, how to react to certain situations, because different things are happening there during treatments, which are quite normal. And, I help them to get ready for that as well. So I just want to share this.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I mean, honestly, sounds like you help everyone. It's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for, for talking to us today and sharing all the tips that are very, very appreciated. And I hope you enjoyed, guys, listening to us and you find this information useful. The links to Edyta's website and social media links will all be underneath the video. So if you want to get in touch with her, please do so. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will speak soon. Bye for now.
Thank you.